Hello, hello. Welcome. Give this a couple of moments. Perfect. Step one works. Every day, right? It's like it doesn't seem to change. Some of us just have more technical difficulties than others. I don't know. Talk to me about your soul. Good to go. Start working through some of this stuff. Can be a little bit more of a challenge. There we go. Um, So, welcome everyone. I am so excited that you are here. And go ahead and let me know if you are jumping on live. And even if you are now catching the replay, then make a comment. Let me know that you're here, where you're jumping in from. I always keep an eye on the comments and come back to them all the time. It is the one thing that I actually pay attention to on my social media is actually comments in this group. So whenever, if you've got questions or anything like that, you take me anything within our Awakening Circle group. That is very much my the community. So that's the place that I give my energy to if I'm going to be jumping onto some form of social media. So don't ever hesitate. Don't think that it's a bother, because that seems to be something that we love to think. And don't think that that you're not going to be heard or seen, because you will. So that's my invite to you today. Okay, so let's see. I'm just trying to see if it's still saying it's posting. So I was just going to check and see if the comments are working today. This is my weekly issue that likes to come up here for us. So let's see here. Does that work? There we go. Perfect. Hello, Denise. Yay. All right. Let's see if we can make that go the way I want it to. Perfect. I'm seeing things now. Yay. All right. Beautiful. All right. Today we are going to be talking about judgment and expectations. And last week I pivoted because I had a lot of people in coaching, in personal friendships that were coming forward. And one of the big issues that was arriving was this concept of forgiveness. And, how do we forgive somebody? And how do we make it more than lip service? Because most of us love to say, okay, no, I forgive. But then we harbor some secret resentment that we don't really let them off the hook with. And so, that happens because we think that forgiveness is about the other person. And I know it's cliche, and I know how freaking annoying cliches are. But the reason they become cliches is because they're true. So the piece that we were doing last week, we were discussing this concept of forgiveness, and I will come back to it over and over again because it is such a foundational point to our own expansion and our own ascension, our own ability to become the version of ourselves that we set ourselves up to be. Now, one thing I also tell people a lot is when you say, I want to be more forgiving, please caveat that with, I want to be more forgiving to things that have already happened to me. Because when we just say, I'm going to be a more forgiving person, the universe and your soul goes, awesome, let's practice. And then it gives you a whole bunch of things that you get to work on forgiveness about. And then you come back to somebody like myself and you're like, WTF, what is happening with my life? It's like everything's gone to shit since I started to try and be more, awakened, more present in my life. And that's what it means, just so we're clear. So self-realization, awakening, all these terms that get used, all we're talking about is becoming present and aware that we are the one that is witnessing our life. And so when we get stuck into this concept of holding resentments, holding judgments, so this is leading where we're going today, which was unintentional when I did this last week, so here we go. When we do these things, it stunts our growth. So it's like we put our own roadblocks in place that say, I'm going to stay exactly where I am. And I'm going to maximize my maturity, my spiritual and psychological maturity at the moment of impact. And so when we are getting really frustrated, or if we've been raised by parents that have some types of dysfunction in them, or we are dealing with somebody who's had trauma in their life, often if we don't do our healing work, which means the work of letting go, of releasing our grip on it, the identity of it, if I don't do that work, I'm stunting my mental, emotional, not physical, although in some ways physical, but mostly mental, emotional, and spiritual growth. And so if you think about it like that, that really helped me let go. Like when I recognized that my harboring resentments, my judging, I had a very dysfunctional relationship with my mother. And so for a lot of people in the outside world, especially when I was younger, they had no idea. So I very much buried kind of a lot of what was going on. And as I got older and the doctors were like, I'd say like, I don't have any memories really before the age of 15. And they were like, okay, well, that's a trauma response. And I'm like, I don't know why. I don't have any trauma growing up. And then as things started to unlock and I started becoming aware of things, I was like, oh yeah, like there's a lot of dysfunction here. And so as these pieces came up, then I had other issues because I had loyalty issues, I had all sorts of stuff. But the problem became when I was like looping on it, because that's what the mind and intellect loves to do. It wants to loop because it loves solving problems. So the mind's looping, trying to get an answer or solve an issue, which is really what the baseline of PTSD is. We have a traumatic event or complex PTSD, which means multiple traumatic events, whether they're big T or small t, and then our nervous system gets dysregulated and the mind keeps trying to solve the problem. That's kind of it at its really baseline. If we keep holding on to the wound, to the identity, to that experience, thinking that it should have been different. So principle number 5 is to release all expectations, let go of all judgments, and let go of the need to know why things happen as they do. That is principle 5 of co-creation. And I remember very clearly the exact moment I heard this for the very first time. And I was driving through the intersection near where I lived at that time back on Glacier View. And I remember driving through the intersection, hearing this, and I was like, oh no. Because I was aware that I have a lot of expectations. I had a whole lot of judgments. And I was not letting go of the need to know why. As a matter of fact, I was saying, until I understand why, I'm not forgiving you. And so we have a problem because in my mom's case, she wasn't even looking at it. So she's never going to give me the answers that I need. I don't need anything. So I was like, oh, how are we going to handle this? And so this is like the very beginning of this deep, deep journey that would lead me into the world of surrendering, that would lead me to all of the work I do now. And this became a pivotal moment that would change everything in my life. And so I began the journey of letting go. And that is really what releasing judgments, expectations, forgiveness, all of it, every single one of those things is the journey of letting go, looking at it from a different perception. So we just keep looking at the same thing, the life we've created, and we just keep looking at it from these different perceptions. And so let's take a dive into this. So our judgments are always based off of expectations of some form. And so if you think of, it's like old truth, right? And so it's based off of the beliefs that we were giving most prior to the age of 8. And so we download these beliefs, we incorporate them, we buy in. I always think of them as like drinking the Kool-Aid. And so we buy into these beliefs. This is one of my big ones is a mother's job is to protect her child. Pretty, like, I've never said that belief to somebody and had them disagree with me. And so then if you have a parent that doesn't protect their child, then you're going to start judging the shit out of them. And that's what I did. And so all of a sudden, here we have this problem because this woman is doing the best she can with what she has. She's not looking at her own stuff. She is simply aware that she's very insecure and has low self-esteem. But aside from that, she is not gonna own it. We're not gonna have conversations about my childhood. And so, this is her experience. And she was doing the best she could with what she had. And she was, based on where she was at that time. And so here I am, an adult, and I'm judging that person and where she was in her journey and the impact it had on me. Now, it doesn't change the storyline. So facts become facts. And this is the way that things went down. She's going to still have a different perception of it than I am. And so when we're taking a look at that, we're all stemming from our core beliefs. So my belief that a mother's job is to protect her child becomes the core belief that is the basis of my judgment of my mother's behaviors and choices as I was a child. And then as this continues, so now I have an expectation. So expectations are born from the belief. So we have a belief, then I expect you to behave in a certain way that will align and live up to that belief system that I have. And if you don't, or if you do, I will judge it. Welcome to the intellect. The intellect's job is to judge things. Its job is to, good, bad, right, wrong, left box, blue box. It's not a bad thing. It's just categorizing stuff. Big, small. This is what it's doing. Hot, cold. That's the intellect's job. The problem comes in when we identify with those answers. So this is good. And then we're like, okay, well, we can go from facts. Yes, that was good. No, that wasn't good. Based on the information that we know. If you were to carry that all the way forward, I would never change a single moment of my life. None of it. Not the abuse, not any of it. I wouldn't wish it on other people, but I also wouldn't change it because it gave me all of the foundation that I needed to do what I do now. And so how could I possibly want to make any adjustments to that? Because then I wouldn't be able to understand and see and walk with the people that come through my door. I couldn't do it with my friends, my family, my loved ones, as well as clients. So I don't regret any of the shadows of my life because they gave me the foundation to what I can do now. Does that make them any less uncomfortable or disliking? No, I don't. There's no moment where I'm like, oh, I love this. No, not at all. And it's okay to say that. Yeah, I didn't love that. I did not love that. But do I know if this is the right thing or the wrong thing for me? No, I don't. I don't have any idea. And so understanding how these pieces work becomes super, super important. And so a judgment, if you think of it as those moments, and we judge all the time. And our biggest ones is we judge ourselves. We compare ourselves to other people, and we do it on a regular basis. She's prettier than me. They're smarter than I am. They have more impact, whatever it is. We judge ourselves against other people a lot. And often we find ourselves as less than. Hello, Carrie, beautiful. And so we find ourselves less than other people. And this is also a problem. And here's the reason. It's not just what it does to ourselves. So it's not just the fact that it makes us contract. It makes us become more tense. It elevates our blood pressure. It heightens our heart rates. There's a lot of things that happen when we judge, no matter what way it goes. Even if we judge somebody else as wonderful, are we creating distance between us? And if we're creating any type of distance, then we now know that the judgment is not healthy. Because our entire journey of coming back to the self, coming back to source, coming back to our wholeness, to our completeness, is to close the gap between our soul and our ego, our identity, our roles that we play. And it's to close the gap between us. And so if I'm doing anything, any thought, any behavior, any actions that create distance between the two of us, that change the field that we're playing on together, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for me. It does not help me become in alignment with my soul, with my spirit. It does not help me achieve the goal of letting go. My goal is not to find myself because I'm right fucking here. Like right here. Like it's like your whole spirit and soul is like right here. You don't have to find yourself. That whole thing, you don't have to find God. Right here. You have access all the time. Our job is to let go of all the shit that keeps us from seeing that keeps us from feeling it, from living in it every moment. So we want to release the density so we can come back to our lightness and have clarity. So clarity, the highest vibration of love and light, is an aspect of our spirit. And so clarity helps us clean out the density so that we can come back into that alignment again. We can come back to each other. The light in me only sees the light in you. And so these are pieces, little kind of crystals, little droplets, little nudges that keep us like, oh, right. Okay, let's keep going. So for a long time, whenever I've caught myself judging somebody, whether it was less than or better than, I would be like, the light in me only sees the light in you. It was a mantra that I used for a long time. And I can't remember where it came from. I know Gabby Bernstein has said that in some book, but I also know that it came from it's like Course in Miracles. So like it's like an old piece. So keep this in mind as we're getting through this work. Why do I want to let go of my judgments? For this. Why do I want to release expectations? For this. Why do I want to forgive people? For this. This is the reason. Because all of those things separate us from ourself, from our soul, from our spirit. And they separate us from creating deep, intimate connections with each other. Because all of a sudden we're creating attachments. So think like cords. We create attachments, unhealthy, that create codependency. We have to agree on our beliefs to be able to be together. Whereas if we're cultivating connection, here's my truth, here's what I'm noticing within me, and we're bringing that forward, here's, those kinds of conversations, then what we're doing is we're creating a deeper intimacy. We're creating greater connections with one another, which is how we heal. Because healing is really just letting go. Because we were never broken, we were never even damaged. That's like the words that we use when we are stuck in our victim or even in our survivor, which is a fighting victim. Whenever we're there, what we're doing is we're cultivating this disconnection. And so we're not damaged. We were never damaged goods. This is a hard one. Even those that have hurt us, hurt people, hurt people. So even those that hurt us, and you will see, this is where I'm like, it always helps me when I'm moving through like big, deep forgiveness work. Because when I can see that the other person was only hurting, then it makes it really easy to let go. It's so much easier to release judgments on people when we know that they're in pain. And so can we see these things as like, oh my gosh, only hurt people hurt people. My mother was only capable of hurting me because she was hurting. And once we see that, I talked about that a bit with the body dysmorphia and starting to notice like, oh my gosh, no wonder my mother was hurting so much. Look at the way people spoke to her. Look at the comments that were made by her own family. And so this is what we move through, is when we're hurting, we hurt. And so we can only project what's in us. So we're not damaged goods. We're just feeling or living in our pain body, in this shadow aspect of ourself. As soon as we start letting go, as soon as we start walking this journey, and we actively, and it is an active practice, we have to put in the time. You got to put in the reps. Sorry, guys. Like, this is rep work. We are putting in the work. Why do I continue journaling every day? I cannot believe it is we're coming up to 3 months on this. Like, it's less than 3 weeks away and it'll be 3 months that I've been journaling every day, which just blows my mind. I think I missed one day. And I brain dump every morning. And when I finished my brain dump, like this morning, I was feeling like a lot of tension and a lot of anxiety. And as I was moving through, all of a sudden came the clarity. So then, as I was talking about it, it was like the answers were like right there. And I started to just dump and channel the answers. Right? And so thank you. I know I'm really proud of myself. Me journaling's a big deal, you guys. I have resisted for years. So big moments. What's really cool is watching the answers arrive. And so, this understanding for myself, I've been on this journey, and about 10 years ago, I got given a really, really clear picture, like super clear. I could it almost like it's like a literal snapshot of myself standing on stage, speaking to a big audience. And I was like, what do you want me to talk about? And I was like, oh boy. And you get the snapshot, but then we come back into the moment. And so every so often I get all this tension that comes up. I'm like, okay, I'm doing everything you've asked me to do. I'm doing everything you've asked me to do. I just finished my book. It's in publishing. We are moving along. I'm making every uncomfortable mood. I don't like to be visible, which is really funny to think about speaking. I don't, I don't like to put myself in a position where I can be ridiculed. It's just protective measures. And so whenever this happens, I just keep letting go. I just keep letting go of more. It's saying that something is going on. So I was just making sure that I have a good recording there. Are we good? There we go. I think we're better. So here's these moments we lean in. And the reason why I say this to you is because part of my obstacles is judgment. And it's not judgment of other people being bad. It's judgment that other people are better than me. And so then instead of looking at co-creating, that we're all doing this together and lifting each other up, we don't recognize that sometimes what we do is we go, oh, well, they're already doing that, or they're doing it really well, so I can't do it now. And so we kind of push it, we just make it as an excuse that we can just play really, 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 really small. And the truth is this world needs us, every single one of us, to be our most beautiful, bold selves, no matter what that is. It could be beautiful, bold self in being mom, the beautiful, bold self of work. It could be the beautiful, bold self of friendship. It is us showing up every single day in our truth, in every single relationship. And that is what the world needs. That's it. And so this answers this morning was how you want me to get here? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of effort. There's a lot happening. What do you want me to do? And then all of a sudden it was clear stillness. And I'm like, you want me to make action and stillness? And then I was like, right, be present. And so all of a sudden it was be still. Be present. What's unfolding in front of you today? Just be there. You don't have to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. I gave you your North Star. You know the direction, just so you can understand why things are unfolding the way they are in front of you. Your job is to allow them to unfold and to stay completely present with every single person in every single moment of your life. That's your job. And that's each of our job. It's just to stay completely present so that the beautiful gift of our lives can continue to unwind, to unfold in front of us. And it's so freaking beautiful. And what stops us is this. It's having these beliefs, these limiting beliefs. It's having these expectations, thinking that we know how things should run, how things should go down. This includes in politics. So if you guys want to know why I don't watch the news, it is not because I do not care about what's happening within the world. It's because I'm super cautious about anything that pulls me out of alignment with us being in connection. And we need this. And so it's not that I'm saying don't be aware of what's happening in our world. I'm saying, be aware and make progress. And so I'm very, very cautious about what I bring in because it's so easy for us to hit aside and it becomes us versus them. And the moment that begins, we've already created misalignment. We've already started to cultivate anxiety, depression, fear, anger, all of that's coming up. And so, it lowers the frequency. And your job is to get the frequency up. And that doesn't mean any of this fake BS. I'm not talking about just pretending like everything's sunshine and rainbows when it's not. I'm talking about looking for the opportunity in every single thing that we have happen. Does this suck? Yep, sucks. Dislike. You can watch me have a temper tantrum every so often. They're phenomenal. I put on quite a show. I give myself a solid 5 minutes for them, and then I move on. What are you trying to show me? What do I need to let go of? What's the opportunity here that I'm missing? And I start asking those questions just like that to try and get to my answers, because I know that my soul, my spirit has every answer. My job is to ask the question that unlocks it. That's our whole job, to unlock the answer, because you have them all. You have every answer that you need. We just need to unlock them. And so we just ask better questions. And so this is what can help us shift from that feeling of being stuck, the feelings of overwhelm, the feelings of like, now what, or depression, is we start asking these questions and we just make a little nudge, a little adjustment, a little step. And these are the things that help us get there. And so understanding that our expectations, they actually cultivate separation from each other, and they shrink. I'm like looking at how I wrote that down. I said shrinks possibility. And so it narrows the awareness. And so instead of us being curious, so we're like, I don't like this. I expected this to be easier. I expected this to move along faster, and we shrink because all we see is the problem. All we see is what should have been, which is a great lie. So I always say to everybody, stop shitting on yourself. What is? Love what is. Where are we at today? Be right here. And so as we go into this, you can think of it being like when we're in expectations, we narrow our beam of focus like a pen light. So we're just like super focused on the problem. And when we can't do, when we're like that, is we can't soften and open into the expansiveness which curiosity gives us. And curiosity is a characteristic of the soul. So clarity, curiosity, compassion. So when I started to think about that with my mom earlier, we go, okay, well, only hurt people. So get curious about that. And then all of a sudden, there's this incredible amount of compassion to that woman, to that beautiful soul that walked this earth and was so caught in her pain that she struggled to get out of it. I can give compassion to that. So compassion, curiosity, clarity, those are all aspects of our spirit, of our soul. And the courage, which is a big one here, the courage to lean into the discomfort. Because forgiveness, forgiving others, and forgiving ourselves for our roles takes courage, because we have to look at it. We have to really see the whole situation and get curious about every single, perception of it. When we look at judgments, we need to get curious. Why am I judging this person? Why am I judging this situation? And it's always like, what's the expectation that I had underneath this? And what is that talking about? And often my expectations are me putting on, it's the word I'm looking for. It's like I'm saying, if this works out, it means I'm worthy. And so I have an expectation that if it works out, it means I'm worthy. And if it doesn't work out, it means that I'm unworthy. And I've played this game for a long time with the universe. And it's one of the reasons why I have a really hard time asking for anything. I have a really difficult time asking for anything from anybody, including the universe. And a lot of it is because it comes down to these deep, deep, deep wounds of worthiness. And so I've purposely been working on leaning into the discomfort of asking for guidance, asking for what I need, asking for help, asking for support, asking for friendship. And it's not easy. It is not easy. But when we start doing this without any expectations, and we can stay open and curious, then we start being able to let go of this part. We can release the expectations and then let go of the judgments, because everybody's doing their own journey. Here's me in my own energy field. My energy field is creating. I'm creating with the quantum field, with my mind, working with the mind of God, is creating life. you are also doing the same. And then our energies interact and do their thing together. And you've got your own journey. I've got my own journey. And so who knows how that interaction is actually going to play off of each other. And we don't consider that because we're the center of our own world. But everybody is the center of their own world. And so when we start recognizing like, oh, it's not personal, I can start letting this go. I can start softening, even when it comes to people when they're doing harm. Now, this gets a lot harder when you start getting into the big, everybody loves to bring out the big guns, rape, murder, all these huge things. Let's just start with low-hanging fruit and work from there because it's really easy. The ego loves that shit. The ego loves to convince us, what, you're just going to let a murder off? And it's like, hurt people hurt people. It doesn't mean that they're not responsible for their actions. It means that they are hurting in behind and we should look for some psychiatric help. I'm a big believer that if we focus way more on people's mental and emotional health, we would start sorting out a whole bunch of other problems, including our physical health. And so, yes, lets us have a level of compassion while still saying you're responsible for yourself. So beware of the ego. The ego loves to put up roadblocks for us and say, well, of course I'm judging them. Here's why. And we love justifications. But remember, justifications and excuses are just well thought out lies by the ego. And so note where we try to justify having a judgment, where we try to justify having expectations, where we try to justify not forgiving. So note where those happen. Because that third part is needing to know why things happen as they do. And that keeps us stuck in our little child. It keeps us stuck in like, I can't forgive you until you make me understand you. It's not true. You can forgive today. You can forgive yourself. This has been a big journey of just self-forgiveness, way more than it has been about forgiving anybody else. Is like, can I forgive myself for holding a judgment? Can I forgive myself for all these other pieces that we get sucked into? So just notice where that comes up for us, because the why keeps us stuck. It keeps us stuck in that demand for needing to know answers, which is like that little kid, I'm not going to forgive you until you explain yourself to me. And it's like, no, you don't have to. You could just let it go. You could just work on your part. What were they showing in me? What are they triggering in me? What is the wound that they are able to bump into at this moment, which is the game I play with myself. So when I'm triggered, easily offended, easily manipulated. So if I am offended, if I am triggered, then it's time for me to look at me, not at the person bumping it. Now that might mean I need to give a little bit of space to the person that keeps bumping the wound. I need to take some space so I can deal and heal that. I need to release and let go from there. Then I can come back into that relationship if I choose. So giving ourselves some space is not wrong. You are worthy of taking your time. You are worthy of the space that you are requiring so that you can do what you need to do to come back into alignment with your soul, with yourself. And then partnerships. So all of this, really what we've been talking about these last few weeks is coming into co-creation. We are co-creating with the universe. Now, whether you see that universe as, God, source, light, beingness, whatever language that you choose, it's about you. That's very personal and it's very intimate. I do not believe that somebody who prays to God, to Buddha, to Allah, I don't believe any of them are praying, are speaking to anybody, anything that is different than what I am. They just call it by another name, but they are talking to their source, to the essence of creation. And that is, so I'm not going to get hung there because that will limit, again, create divide between us. And so the more that we can look at universe, one song, universe, one song. We're all singing one song. We're just on different lines. We're in different chords and different pitches. Some are on a verse, some are on a chorus. We're all there. Some are singing in English, some are singing in French. So if we can understand that, then it makes it way easier for us to soften. And when we are in co-creation, it's about partnership. So again, it's about creating that connection between our soul, our spirit, and our source again. And so we're really coming back into, working with life. And life meets us halfway, but we have to make the steps in. We have to do the letting go. Because I can't hold on to the past and grab onto the life I desire at the same time. So you have to, at some point, release. And we think like, oh, I've let go, but we've just softened our grip a bit. I've played this game for long enough now to be like, oh, I thought I let go, but I just let a finger off. Maybe two. And I'm like, nope, still holding. And I'm like, so, we really have to practice this concept of softening and letting go, to shake it out and release the tension that has us gripping onto what we think things should be like, how we think things should have gone. The shoulds and the shouldn'ts will be your warning signs as to where you are creating an obstacle to your partnership with life. And letting go is how we let the guidance in. So when we let go, that's how, we soften. When we're softening, we can open to get those downloads. There's going to be a podcast that is going to be going up. I'm going to actually put it for Wednesday next week. I will email you guys and I'll put it in here as well. But Carol Look, who is a psychotherapist that I work with, and she is one of the founding EFT tapping masters. Her and I are doing a series of podcasts. And this one that is going to be going on Wednesday is about channeling. And it's about understanding that we are each a channel. And that channeling isn't just letting some entity take over for your voice, but we can all channel. We're all a conduit of divinity, of divine energy. And so when we let go, when we release this stuff, what we're doing is we're opening the channel. So imagine a straw that's all plugged up. So the more that we let go, the more energy can flow through that. And that's what each of us is like. So we're a conduit or a channel, and we allow and open for divine energy to flow through us. And so the more that we do this letting go work, releasing judgments, releasing expectations, all this stuff that we've been talking about, the more that we do this work, the more we open to that work, which is when we start to experience miracles every single moment of the day. Not sometimes, all the time. It's just that we need to become, open our eyes to them. And then the piece that comes key to this is presence. So the past and future is what loops us, and we just stop there. And so past and future loop, and then we can't really get into our body because we're out here. And so the more that we're coming into presence, the more that we can get the messages, the more that we can take a breath and start letting some stuff go. And so presence is the key, because if I am present with my breath, I cannot loop in my mind. If I am present with you, I cannot loop. Not in the past, not in the future. And so being present is the key, and it seems so simple, and it can be so difficult. And so the mind's like, nope, can't focus. And it's like, you can. It's like training a puppy, you guys. Don't beat it. Just gentle, sit, stay, sit. It is the baseline of meditation. Why is meditation so powerful? Because meditation teaches us how to train our senses. It teaches us how to train the mind. It teaches us how to train these aspects that are about creation to do their job, which was never to be in charge. And these are the pieces that help us get there. So yeah, this is the piece for this week. Let go of judgments, release expectations, and let go of the need to know why things happen as they do, and how that helps us co-create our life, this life that we desire. And as the new book comes out, I will share the book cover pretty quick here with you guys. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be called Align Your Life, a 10-step guide to reclaiming your power and co-creating the life you desire. I'm excited. So this is like a big month that's going to be coming up here as we move forward together. Any questions that you guys have, you can always stick them into the chat. Any obstacles that you guys find yourself all of a sudden coming up against, stick them in the comments. Or if you're feeling like that's too vulnerable, that does not feel like a safe zone for you, then throw me a message, because I do check my messages. And let's take a look at this together. How can we let go? How can we release? Sometimes it's just a little tweak of how we're seeing something that helps us all of a sudden soften. And I got no problems with walking this journey with you. It's the purpose of my life. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Podcast comes out tomorrow, and that one is about this specifically, is letting go, the judgments, the expectations, and the need to know why. So that is the podcast as well this week, and the YouTube went out on Tuesday. But I'll make sure I share them in here with you guys to make that easier. Although the podcast is on every platform now. So whatever your favorite platform is, Sovereignty Rising with Don Elgin, that is Ditch the Fear, Embrace Your Flame. That's the one that's there. We'll talk soon, guys. Love you all, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.